Hi, Doc Martin for the Zero channel. This is one of those books for that channel, adult issues. It's called Silent Coup: How Corporations Overthrew Democracy. It's by two investigative journalists, Claire Provost and Matt Kennard. Now at Zero channel, well, I want to call myself, I'm an independent citizen journalist. And I don't know if I do work like these people, but, you know, it took a long time for me to come back to doing book reviews, and I almost didn't want to do this one. So the information in this book is so flabbergastingly appalling that it feels like it's futile to even deal with it, but you've got to read the book for it. So I've been brave. I've just listened to Mike Sala and talking about Bill Tompkins and all of those people, and so I thought, no, I'm going to come and tell you about the secret coup. Now, I may not ever do any more book reviews again, but go watch all the other ones that we have put up and find out for yourself. So here goes. This book is from Bloomsbury Academic. Of course, London, New York, and Ireland. And as European empires crumbled in the 20th century, the power structures that dominated the world for centuries were up for renegotiation. Yet instead of a triumph of democracy, what emerged was a silent coup, an unstoppable rise of global corporate power. Exposing the origin of this epic power grab, as well as its present-day consequences, Silent Coup is the result of two investigative journalists' reports from 25 countries around the world. It provides an explosive guide to the rise of a corporate empire that now dictates how resources are allocated, how territories are governed, how justice defined, and who is safe. Really talks about corporate armies, the corporate utopia, corporate welfare, corporate justice, and their armies. Here's a story about Claire. She's co-founder and co-director of the new nonprofit Institute for Journalism and Social Change. She was previously head of global investigations at the independent media outlet Open Democracy, a fellow at the Center for Investigative Journalists, that's a CIJ, in London, and a data journalist at The Guardian. This is her first book. She lives in Turin, Italy. Mike Kennard is co-founder and chief investigator at Declassified UK, a news outlet investigating British foreign policy. He was a fellow then director at the CIJ, that's the Center of Investigative Journalism, in London. He has worked as a staff writer for Financial Times in Washington, D.C., New York, and London. He is the author of two acclaimed books, Irregular Army in 2012 and The Racket in 2015. He lives in London. It's dedicated to the head of it. His name was Gavin McFadyen. He just passed away, but he really prompted them to go out and do the work, and they gave him the money, and they went around and found out a lot of these, how it came to be. Most of this came by bankers in the 50s that decided to use world courts and tribunals in the United Nations and World Bank and all of these 3- and 4-letter words, IFCs and financial centers and courts, and they figured out that they could make deals with different countries, and of course they didn't care about the politics or any of that, so they got in with some unscrupulous people, of course. Then they made them sign deals that said that if they reneged on the the deal, they could take them to international tribunal courts, and so they could wipe out countries, El Salvador. And here's a little trick too. They knew they were going to play by those rules, so some of these corps spent about, $10 million, not a lot. And then they really, I can say this at the Zero Channel, they pissed a lot of people off, so the people just said, no, we're not going to do that. And so they took them to international court, and guess how much in damages they wanted for their future use and worth and what they were going to get out of the country. $300 billion. The country said no. So in the end, it says if you stand up to them, then you're going to make it. But if not, they're going to kill you, take it in. And one of the most heartfelt things, and why I really almost didn't want to do this, was the Chiquita brand and some of those large corps in Central America that wanted their land, and they had people. Now, they weren't implicated, they said, and nobody could ever prove it, but a lot of these right-wing, ultra-right paramilitary people told them, we're going to take your land and buy it from you. They wouldn't sell it. And this little 9-year-old girl, her name's Annabelle, she's 30 now and works in a not a resistance, but telling the truth and all in her country. Said that they said, okay, we'll sell you the lands. So they said, get in a taxi. And they got in a taxi, her stepfather and mother with the papers and her. And the guy that was going to buy it, right at the last minute, stepped out of the taxi and said, I've got to go to another meeting. I'm going to have this other guy come in here, and we're going to go over there. He was a killer. He came in with a gun and went down the road, and he killed her stepfather, and then he killed her mother, and they threw her out. I guess they didn't care about, whether she knew it or not, and took the papers and owned the land. That's how they got a lot of land in a lot of different countries. It's sickening. And so they talk about other corporations that have taken over, like the Bechtel has taken over the nuclear industry and all of that in the United States. So it's not just foreign powers and all of that. But a lot of them get the disguise of, we're going to do foreign aid to help this country. Then only certain corporations buy huge motels, and then they have special economic zones, and they get to run wild in there and abuse workers, not follow democracy, do whatever they want, have their own police and all that. So it's a pretty sickening story, but you should read the book, because made me think about it. Be brave, keep fighting a good fight, and I'll still be an investigative journalist. But I can't match what these two did, and I don't have the resources. But I will tell their story, and I hope you listen. Thank you for watching KRAZ TV and the Zero Channel for our book reviews. Thank you again. We got this book at the Tucson Public Library. And, sometimes they didn't treat me so well either, but maybe they didn't like the subjects I was talking about. Bye.